Ready?
Yeah.
All right, hold up.
1, 2, 2, 2.
Good night, greetings everybody. We are G Syndicate, and tonight is vibes as we syndicate you vibes. You know, you're gonna be hearing some songs off our upcoming EP. Think it's gonna be nice. So right about now, we starting with this one. Ready to blow? So are you ready to go? So are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Oh, ready to blow, ready to blow. Oh, so let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time to start the party. Sometimes we be getting dirty. This time we're starting this thing right. Hey, so just kick off your shoes. It's no time to feel the blues. So baby, we gonna do our thing tonight. Oh, leave the work at home, leave the stress alone. Toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
It's time for you to be free. Let's just enjoy the party tonight. We just gonna ease our mind. So just leave them on the wall, 'cause we're not gonna step on all in the way. Just leaving all our fears behind. So leave the work at home, leave the stress alone. Toss away your worries. Ain't got no time for that, baby. Now you've got the chance. Lose your fears, just dance. We're gonna rock this party. Just raise your hands if you're ready.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Let the music take control. Let it seep into your soul. When the bass line starts pulsating, feel the stress keep evaporating. Let it bring to your mind. There could be no better time to get on the floor, 'cause we're just ready to blow. Ready to blow, start up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark on the trombone.
Start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go.
Give it up for Mark, y'all. So let me go.
Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go.
Ready to blow,
ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go, let's go. Ready to blow, start up the show, get on the floor, let's go.
Yes, folks, good night one more time. We are G Syndicate. This next song we're going to do for you, you can find it on our upcoming EP called Revive. We released it last year, and be ready to rock. This one is called Chemistry. Tum, 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 tum. Tum, 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 tum. Hey, 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 girl. Hey, 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 girl.
grooving. Sweet calico, honey bar, good looking. The way how you moving, put me in a mood, I'm glad to see you. Your waistline on the baseline, so attractive, I wanna be a captive. I see a smile on your face now, so beautiful, I know you're original.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back for me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Love when you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. That's my baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we still grooving. I love when you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. That's my baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause we still grooving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving. We're still grooving.
Come talk to me, girl. Classy and intelligent, and you run the world. And let me say face to face. Know you feel the tension, just had to mention. Your brown eyes, shining bright. So gorgeous and glowing like sunlight. I hear your voice, angelic eyes. So amazing, I wanna keep this going.
So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. I love when you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause it's still grooving. I love when you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, cause it's still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving.
Hey, girl, I wanna take you home with me.
And hey, girl, sugar energy, yeah.
Hey, girl, I wanna treat you right, you see, you see, you see.
Hey, just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. What you won't do for love. You try everything, but you won't give up. So come wind up on me, I wanna see if you got good chemistry. And come push back on me, don't hold back, girl, just be free. Love you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and just groove. And I love you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, come and just groove. And I love you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, girl, you're sweet off. Dance me, baby, step out, step out. Just keep it moving, we're still moving. I love you're not and show off, show off. You have my attention, and that's for me, baby. Step out, step out. Just keep it moving, though we're still grooving. We're still grooving. Still grooving. Still grooving. Yeah.
The next selection is entitled Englishman in New York, a song made famous by Sting in the 80s. Hope you enjoy.
I don't drink coffee, I drink tea, my tea. I like my toast done on one side. You can hear it in my accent when I talk. I'm an Englishman in New York. See me walking down Fifth Avenue, a walking king here at my side. I take it everywhere I walk. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien.
alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
If manners make it man, as someone said, he's a hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and smile. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Modesty's propriety can lead to notoriety. You could end up as the only one. Gentleness, sobriety, all rare in this society. At night a candle's brighter than the sun. In New York, concrete jungle where dreams are made up. There's nothing you can do. In New York, takes more than combat gear to make a man. Takes more than a license for a gun. Confront your enemies, avoid them when you can. A gentleman will walk but never run. If manners make it man, and someone said he's a hero of the day. It takes a man to suffer ignorance and strive. Be yourself, no matter what they say.
We know you sing at home.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York. Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York City.
I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Englishman in New York.
Oh, I'm an alien. I'm a legal alien. I'm an Englishman in New York.
Now, growing up in the 90s, I would have loved these songs. I'm sure those of you that know them will love them as well. So we got two songs coming up for you. We got I Wanna Know by Joe and Someone to Love by John B. and Babyface. Hope you guys enjoy.
It's amazing how you knock me off my feet. Every time you come around me, I get weak. Oh. Nobody ever made me feel this way. No. You kiss my lips and then you take my breath away. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know what makes you cry. Oh, so I can be the one to always make you smile. Girl, he never understood what you were with. No. And he never took the time to make it worse. More loving girl. Baby, I'm the kind of man who shows consent. Yes, I do. Any way that I can please you, let me learn. So I wanna know what turns you on. Yeah, and I wanna know, so I can be all that and more. And I'd like to know.
Warning. What you are about to hear goes against traditional romantic counsel expressed by friends, family, and Instagram memes and quotes. Open-mindedness is advised.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, and welcome to another edition of the Senate Podcast. I am your host, Neil, joined as always with my brother from another mother, and your host, Derek.
Hail.
And yeah, man, as you guys would have seen, we have a guest with us tonight. Now, usually we have special guests, but this is an extra special guest for us, for me personally. So, this man was the #1 journalist in Barbados.
Correct.
My right a top 10 list get in trouble. top 10 basketball list get in trouble. This man has, traveled all around behind the US Open, covered Darian King extensively. This man is a journalist. This man is so prolific in journalism, right, that he got me to do a sports podcast with him called This Justin every Monday at 8 p.m. Barbados time. None other than my brother from another mother, Justin Marville.
I never brought that in my parents and they go, how making me feel special. Oh.
We got larger itself, man. Larger itself, don't let me stamp a ceremony. This Justin.
Yeah, I try and fix me.
This Justin.
They moving weight, right? So
but don't feel that I left it out. Don't feel like I left it out, you said it. But anyhow,
Correct.
I'm feeling fussy tonight, gentlemen. I'm feeling fussy. I usually just in what we do, as you would know, we ask each other how we are doing, how is everybody going. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. I hope everybody is well. I see Carrie Ann, thanks for joining us. Aston, Wagwan, Akani, Kevin Hunt, Marlon, I see. Andre was in the place. Steve was in the place. Good night, everybody. Gentlemen, you start off with our esteemed colleague in the middle. How you feeling, my brother? How you doing, man?
I feeling good, boy. Like I can't wait to come back home just shortly. Unfortunately, you can miss all the walk-ups and crop over stuff. But anytime back home is a good time, especially when you're with the Senators. So, but I'm feeling good because it's been a long coming. Derek and I have talked, behind the scenes about making this appearance. So it's been too long in coming. They're always going to make an appearance on Barbados. It's #1 podcast. #1.
She's all right. She's all
What
right.
are you talking about, buddy?
We ain't talking about sports shows. We're talking about podcasts.
Podcast.
Correct.
Yeah. I see my man Mario Loki in the building.
Lord man in the
Lord
house.
man, Tango Fox is here. Derek, how you doing, my brother? How is everything? How is life treating you? What is going on?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm here. I'm ready to do the Lord's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to do this show tonight. Doing it with you guys. It's been a minute since I actually got to see face to face, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. I nice to be here with you and come and talk the things and actually talk facts, not feelings. You know what I mean?
Feelings. That's right.
And, that's what we tend to deal with. So I am happy to be here with some other straight shooters and I'm ready to rock, man.
Right.
How everything on your end, my brother?
I am good. I am blessed. I am just grateful to be doing this show with two extremely close guys to my heart. I guess the kids would say no homo after that, but
Yeah.
Hashtag no homo.
Hashtag no homo. But you guys are two of my closest friends, two of my oldest friends. Ups and downs in life and all of that we've gone through. And it's just good to and not only that too, but obviously for me creatively, I work with both y'all. Justin with this, Justin, Derek with this show. And it's just, this is like blending your passions of what you do with your friends, right? So I know it feel like a family reunion, coming home, everybody is here, everybody is nice.
It does.
And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got more to come when it comes to these sort of collaborations because we do have a lot of friends, Derek and I. We do have a lot of friends, so you can see more of this. But anyhow, Derek, before we get into the show, obviously while people were waiting, they were hearing the dulcet sounds of some young gentlemen singing their virtual concert, Ready to Blow. Tell everybody about that, what's going on. Cheese on bread, as this is so Mark, Adolphus Moore is in the chat.
Jeez, all right. We're talking about the Senators out tonight.
The Godfather. We gotta get Mark on the show. We believe that
Yes,
should be
we
our
do.
last show, but we can get Mark on the show.
Wait a minute,
Mark.
first, y'all want to continue a show and bring Mark Adolphus Moore on show?
Yeah, man. No, we got, but no. The reason why is because he is my oldest friend on this planet. I know him longer than I know some family members. My own brother, I know Mark longer than my brother. We do the Bad Movie Crew. We on hiatus right now, but we do the Bad Movie Crew, where we review. You guys are the Bad Movie Crew, so you all know what the Bad Movie Crew is. But for those that don't watch, the Bad Movie Crew is a space where we review movies from a Bajan standpoint. I mean, yes, we know about movies, but also too we give our funny spin on it. But anyhow, you can search us Bad Movie Crew BMC and thing. But yeah, we can got Mark on the show. We can go with a buying man. We might got Mark on there. We might bring out my man Mario. We just go with a bang. Just get some thing. Anyhow, Derek, sorry about that. Tell us about G Syndicate, the virtual concert Ready to Blow.
Yeah, man. You can find it right here on YouTube. Our channel G Syndicate 6. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, G Syndicate 6. On Instagram, G Syndicate 6, but you gotta spell it the 6. And when people break, so you can work that out. You can look for us at gsyndicate6.com as well. Shout out the guys, Kiamal, Vaden, Mark, Brett, and Hugh. And of course, yours truly, doing good stuff as always. And when we finish up here tonight, we're going to watch Kiamal perform tonight down at the reunion. The show by Mikey Mercer, ex-G Syndicate member as well. So we're doing nice and support there as well. So yeah, man. Good stuff all around G Syndicate in the house. I'm surprised I haven't seen one or two of them pop in as yet, but they're usually here. Brett is usually here, Mark, and Hugh as well. We end up popping from time to time. Yeah, so, yeah, man, I showed it the fellas all the time.
Yeah, man. And I just realized too, when you said Mikey Mercer, I just realized something. We are all from the best secondary school.
It's true.
Probably in all of existence, Queens College.
All over the world and other places.
Yeah, shout out Mario Loki, who doesn't know such greatness. It's
from
fine,
Waterford's bottom.
Anyhow, in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, you are indeed watching the Senate podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit notification bell so you don't miss anything going on. We do content for you 5 days a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We do the Senate shorts. Those are a bit lighthearted, ridiculous, but we still try to bring some semblance of.
Got some loading.
Yeah. We usually try to bring some sort of advice from there. The last one we would have done would have been about the children, the son of a woman starting OnlyFans for his mother and managing it. So yeah, it gets wacky. It gets wacky in the shorts, and also too on Tuesdays and Thursdays we come here every Tuesday. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays 8 p.m. Barbados time. We come and we talk the things, as Derek says, straight, raw, wriggling, no feelings, just facts, and this is why we have this space. Anyhow, as you guys know, I read the comments.
I see the comments.
We don't deal with
Go ahead, guys. Congratulate, emulate.
Yeah, we don't deal with the hatters. Anyhow, as y'all guys know, every Tuesdays and Thursdays, Derek usually posts something on our social media pages, particularly Facebook. You can check us out, the Senate Podcast on Facebook. Derek will go on there just to get the conversation going, to drum up some sort of interest, some sort of discussion, etc. But we have a hot button topic for this evening, gentlemen, and this has been something that's been going on for quite some time, particularly within the last 20 years or so, especially with the rise of women in sports. We have the U.S. Women's Federation, Football Federation. They're doing much well than the gentlemen. So, of course, there is always the talk of the pay gap. And, of course, this exists outside of sports. This is, people talk about this pay gap thing all through work and etc. But because I do a sports show, and because we have a friend that is a journalist, and because we are the guys that Derek and I are, we decided to really start with sports, because that's where the major contention comes from, especially from a lot of people, a lot of feminists and everything groups saying, yeah, y'all should do more, y'all women, men thing. But I can let Derek take it off. Derek is going to lead us in sermon tonight. Derek is going to, take the pulpit and Heavenly Father full of grace, and we'll get to it. So over to you, my brother.
Yes, sir. So give me the graphic there with LeBron and Sue. My guy LeBron. Greatest of all time.
Wait, say that again, man. No. I don't know. Wait. Let me put your face to it.
Say that just for you guys.
No. Say what you just said again.
Let's not start the ceremony, man. Let's get on with the show.
So sour.
This was from a couple years ago when LeBron and Sue Bird were both in their 17th year in the league. And you see the disparity in the pay and all that stuff. And people, I saw it flare up on Facebook, people talking, and some of the white knights came out saying how much of a travesty and a tragedy this thing is that, you know, she's so greatly and grossly underpaid and all that crap, right? Anyhow.
But let us. I mean, everybody is saying the numbers, right? But I know there are some people out there that may not fully, grasp the whole situation, right? Sue Bird is a WNBA player. Everybody know the WNBA. Everybody know the NBA. Everybody know who LeBron James is. Some people may not know who Sue Bird is, right? Both of them are probably the best they are in the sport today. I mean, Sue Bird just about to retire. But you look at their salary. I think the most important stat right there is the $215,000 for Sue Bird versus 37.44 M's, and then the bonus for winning, etc. So that is important to this discussion.
It's very, very important. That's a huge disparity, right? I mean, for that $200,000 a year is good money. I would take that to play some basketball, right? But compared to 30-something million, she broke, right? In the grand scheme of things, right? So I was sitting outside the classroom very recently, and I heard a very interesting lesson going on, right? This young female teacher, she was suggesting to the students that men and women athletes should be paid the same thing because they are doing the same job, right? Needless to say, I was hearing this particular exchange and steam was coming from my ears because there was so much erroneous information being disseminated with which I took grave issue. Entertainment and sports are significantly different from other fields of endeavor. The reality is, in sports and entertainment, you will earn commensurate with your ability to draw. By that I mean, your ability to get people to a venue and pay to see you perform in that venue will determine how much you earn. Now, I am not going to go into the other physiological and biological differences that separate men's and women's sports. I will leave that for my esteemed colleagues on the panel tonight so to do, right? But I want the advocates and the surrogates of WNBA players and other professional female athletes to grasp some very, I was going to say simple. I won't say simple because they're clearly not simple. So to grasp some concepts as to why the argument for equal pay tends to fall flat on its face when we really start to drill down and talk about women's sports. Folks, the harsh reality is the WNBA has not, does not, and will not, quite frankly, draw crowds significant enough that would warrant those lovely ladies being paid similar to what the men in the NBA are paid. And it's not for a lack of trying. WNBA players have been featured in films and commercials since the league's inception, way back when in 1996 or 97, whenever it was. And NBA athletes promote the WNBA actually even more than the WNBA players do, right? So it's not for a lack of marketing and promotion. The reality is, men support men's sports. So why should we know men support that in which we are not interested, right? You cannot force men to buy into that. It has not worked. It does not work. And I am tempted to believe that it will never work. And more I'm tempted to think it cannot work, right? But this is my challenge for the WNBA, right? It seems as if sexism is a problem only when it is not benevolent sexism, right? Now, there's a term we will use here on the channel often, right? And benevolent sexism, for those of you who are uninitiated, is discrimination because of sex, but discrimination which is beneficial. And if we are being honest, folks, more often than not, that discrimination is beneficial to the women, not the men, right? And the WNBA is a case study in benevolent sexism and the patriarchy that they love to talk about and blame so much. So let us dig into it, guys. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. So Stay with me. Much like a traditional husband, providing for and supporting his wife, the NBA provides for and supports the WNBA. And in its 25-year existence, yes, the WNBA has been around that long, the WNBA has not once generated a profit, even with the assistance from the NBA. Further to that, guys, in the WNBA, they play significantly less games. The NBA regular season is 82 games, while the WNBA players, their regular season is 30-odd games, like 34 games, right? The quarters are shorter. 10 minutes in the WNBA game, 12 minutes in an NBA game, thereby making the games themselves shorter. So you're already playing less games and you're playing less minutes in them games. You're playing 40 minutes, the man playing 48. And the horrible icing on the bad cake, you even use a smaller ball. So are these two leagues really doing the same thing? Or is it a case where WNBA players are receiving some kind of privilege? Because we ain't talking equality here, we're talking privilege, right? Give me some New Zealand facts there, Neil. I think I would have sent them to you just now.
No,
so allow me to digress, right? Just to digress.
You want the facts or the article?
They sent you two graphics. You could put the first one up. Let me see here.
Just point me in the right direction.
So we can digress and talk some cricket a little bit, just for like a couple minutes. So those of you who are in the building, just give me a little tap on the like button there, so and like you think that's the only cost of admission, right?
All right. You on screen there?
Yeah. New Zealand's female players get match fee parity in new 5-year deal, right? The New Zealand government recently passed a bill which stated that their women's test cricket team would be compensated on the level of the men's team. Now, their men's team is very, very good. Huh? It's one of the top 5 in the world. And congrats to the lovely ladies for that achievement, right? Now, here's the interesting thing about that particular development, gentlemen. The New Zealand women's cricket team does not play nearly as many games as the men, yet women on the same level as the men. And if you look at the second graphic there on screen here, the last time the New Zealand ladies played a test was in 2004, when Shrek 2 and Passion of the Christ were new releases.
It's so bad, man.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
Now, some will argue that these women, they're playing cricket just like the men. They're doing the same job and should be paid the same. But the reality is that even though a job title may be the same, it doesn't mean that the duties, responsibilities, and even the burden of performance is the same. Them ladies last played tested 2004. We are in 2022. In 2004, I was a happily married man. I leave that where it is, right?
Wow.
I'm the musical director for G Syndicate, right? But that doesn't mean that because I'm a musical director that I should demand the same compensation as, say, Adam Blackstone, who is the MD at all the awards show up and BET and all that, and this year's Super Bowl musical director. We are both musical directors, but we ain't really in the same bracket, right? But that was just to digress a little bit. Let me come back to WNBA because I like to troll these here a little bit, right? Now you will ask, why is it that a business that has essentially failed for a quarter of a century, a quarter of a century, been allowed to continue its operations? Yeah? Well, the reality is woke culture and cancel culture have painted the NBA into a corner from which they cannot escape. I took a business class once, right, fellas? And I was told that small businesses generally only start making their money after their 3rd year of operation. 3rd year. Mm-hmm. So that put me back at 2000 for WNBA, right? But here it is, the WNBA has had its third year several times over, yet continues to operate in the red. It is important to note that these operations, ladies and gents in the chat, are not run by men. Women run the operations of the WNBA. So let me put this out here. These ladies in the WNBA are not being victimized by men. They are not being victimized by men. Women running this thing. All right. Let me say this, right? The NBA is now in a position where if they decide, you know what, shut down the WNBA because it ain't making the money, all the knives gonna come out. Oh, it's discrimination against women, it's patriarchy, it is. Man, file it on the one of the S, right? As a matter of fact, we got a nice graphic there, so they put it on screen there. Let me say it here now, right?
Which, oh yes, I got it. Right.
Yeah, the WNBA to poor ticket sales and lack of viewership from other women, not misogyny.
Read it one more time.
I can do that. The WNBA is failing due to poor ticket sales and lack of viewership from other women, not misogyny. Right? But we can get doing it. We can be cooking. We can cook it. As I tell you, nearly long stroking tonight, right?
You long stroking. You long stroking like an old man and a young girl in a hotel. With a tripod.
With a tripod.
Who could that ever mean? Or if you heard that one before.
Now, it must be noted that even though the WNBA is yet to turn a profit, the lovely ladies continue year after year to ask, demand a larger profit share, even though they have made no profit. Now, that is the hardest thing in life.
Hard.
You haven't made the profit, but you want profit share. Make it make sense, Jesus. So imagine the husband, as I would have alluded to before, who provides for his wife. She spends the money frivolously, and then she complains about the fact that there's not enough money in the house for her to be able to pay the essential bills. I know that husband has to go and find more money to give her, right? The reality is, folks, you have to be able to draw eyes and interaction to your sport. The WNBA gets its attention for everything else except basketball. We've been talking about Brittany Griner in the past few months since her incarceration. Talking about her more now in the past few months than we've ever spoken about her before for basketball, right? Let me touch on the U.S. women's soccer team too, right, for a little bit. Nobody is disputing their ability as football players or their dominance in their sport, right? Because, you know, they are people look at them as the outlier. Oh, they're real good, the bad, and the men, so they should get the main money, right? All right. We ain't disputing that again, right? But the question must be asked, how many people are coming to see you play? It's still always going to be a question of how many eyes you can get on your sport, how many people you can get in the seats. You may be very good at what you do, but if you cannot draw people to come and see you, you cannot call for the same compensation as someone who is able to be an actual draw. So let me provide some context, right? In 2019, G Syndicate left these shores as part of the Barbados contingent to Barbados on the water, right? Now, we are very good at what we do, right? Then the two tools about that is my uncle would tell you. We are very good at what we do. But 6 of us and a manager made 7. And we got the same fee as one artist who shall remain nameless, right? The bitter truth is, if we didn't perform, only our family and friends in Toronto would have cared. That is the harsh reality of it. If that particular artist hadn't performed, however, hundreds of people would have been disappointed. We weren't the headline draw, so therefore and thusly, we couldn't command headline money. Now check this. We come into Bill Burr here shortly, right? Because I know people interested in that. Men are interested in men's sports. But here is where the real rub comes. Women are interested in men's sports too. This is what the feminists, and they can use that term loosely because that's how it gets in trouble these days. This is what the feminists do not want to acknowledge. And Bill Burr has a new viral sketch in his stand-up comedy routine which provides all the context and perspective that we need in order to make a judgment on this particular issue and this topic. So we're going to have a watch of what Bill Burr had to say, and then we can come back, right?
All right. So, let me get my man Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, like, comment, share, subscribe. This one, buckle up, buttercup. We about to get rough. Anyhow, gentlemen, yeah, we in it.
I saw a woman a couple months back, professional soccer player, right? She goes on to ESPN or one of these sports channels, and she starts bitching, going like, I don't understand. How come female athletes don't make as much as male professional athletes? Right? And all of these men had to sit there and act like they didn't know what the answer was. They had to sit there like dumbfounded, like, oh, I don't know. Why is that? That is a conundrum. I have no idea. Literally, I'm sitting at home screaming at the TV because you don't sell any fucking tickets. Nobody is going to women's soccer games. You're playing in a 20,000 seat arena. 1,500 people show up. That's not a good night. The promoter lost his fucking ass on that gig. I'm not saying no professional female athletes, Serena Williams, the women in the UFC, you know, but nobody's watching your fucking sport. And then you're gonna come and you're gonna get mad at fucking men. They keep doing that shit. Why are you yelling at us? It's not our fucking job. It's not my fucking job to give a fuck about women's soccer, okay? I have men's sport to pay attention to. It's your bullshit, right? Dude, look at the WNBA. Dude, nobody in the WNBA got COVID. Nobody. They have been playing in front of 300 to 400 people a night for a quarter of a century. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, it's a male-subsidized league. We gave you a fucking league. None of you showed up. Where are all the feminists? That place should be packed with feminists. Faces painted, wearing jerseys, flashing their titties. Going fucking nuts like the guys do. In the upper deck with their big beard titties. Am I on the Jumbotron? Am I doing it? Yeah. You didn't. None of you went to the fucking games. None of you. You failed them. Not me. Not men. Women failed the WNBA. Ladies. Name your top 5 all-time WNBA players of all time. Come on. That's it. Name 5 WNBA teams. Name the WNBA team in your fucking city. You can't do it. You don't give a fuck about them. They play night in and night out in front of nobody. It's a fucking tragedy. Right? And then meanwhile, you look at the Kardashians, they're making billions. You look at those Real Housewives shows, they're making money hand over fist, because that's what women are watching. Mm-hmm. And the money listens. You don't want to watch this shit? You watch this shit? They just shoot it over there, drowning these whores in money. In purses, in shoes, in Botox. It's just raining. It's raining money. Yeah, so the money listens. You'd rather watch that shit. Real Housewives, bunch of women just tearing each other down. Well, maybe that's why your husband left you. Maybe that's why your husband left. That's why you can't have kids, bitch. That's why your ass is as flat as your titties, bitch, right? That's the message you sent. We would rather watch that than see a bunch of women come together as a team and try to achieve a common goal. We would rather watch them actually fucking destroy each other. Yeah. No. And then in the end, you come back And you fucking yell at guys. And it's like, all right, so let me get this straight. I have to buy you a drink, stop the axe murderer from coming through the fucking window, and I have to watch WNBA games for you? When are you gonna pick up your end of the couch?
Yes, sir. So, you know what I find particularly funny before you carry on, Derek? I have gotten in some arguments when it comes to women in sports, pay, and stuff like that, right? Bill says it so eloquently. Name 5.
Yep.
You telling me, name 5 WNBA. You know that I could name 5 of the greatest WNBA players of all time. And I know the people that argue for women's pay cannot. But can pick up LeBron James if you walk in the street tomorrow.
Yeah. That's the fascinating thing about this whole situation, right? Now, to Bill Burr's point, right? Well, he didn't say it. The WNBA was on Lifetime Network, guys, which is branded as, very proudly, television for women. And it was also on Oxygen, another network catering directly and almost exclusively to women. Both of those stations, guys, catering to women and run by women, decided that it was not profitable to have the WNBA on its networks because in, this is what people would say, the ratings were poor, i.e., their audiences weren't watching it, their audience being women. Yet and still, networks like ESPN, for example, feel the need to show WNBA games to men that are not interested in those games, right? If it is television for women, why is it that the women are not supporting? That's the part I want to know, right? Because they come and they beat the chest. Women should be paid the same thing, and you should promote the women's game and all that. You see the superstars go to the men's games. Rihanna, Beyonce, whichever rap star it is that got a song that we can't really understand lyrics. I'm talking about the WAP and all that there. They're going to the NBA games. Carry your audience to the WNBA games, but they refuse to do that, right? Further to Bill Burr's point. Men do not support the Kardashians by giving them money. Let me put that out there one more time. We will look at them and look at the reconditioned bodies they have. I might say, yeah, I look good in the 2-piece. And then we will look and say, look at Tristan Thompson got one of them pregnant again. One of them got somebody in NBA.
Idiot like he.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the extent of men's interest in the Kardashians. The fact that the Kardashians, as Bill said, who have no discernible talents or skills and are famous, well, simply for being famous. Well, Kim famous for other things. Shut up, shit.
I was about to say, right?
She famous for other things.
A particular tape has everything to do with that, man.
Yeah.
Another show for another thing.
Another thing. That's another show, right? The fact that they are rich and famous shows you that women will support that in which they're interested. Women support the Kardashians, and those women, Bill didn't call them women, he called them something else, are swimming in their support and the resulting riches. Women, however, do not support the WNBA. Yet and still, this is a problem for men to solve, right? So if either of you esteemed gentlemen can explain it to me, I would greatly appreciate it, right? Now, WNBA players will submit that they do not want the same money as NBA players. What they do want is the same percentage. So since NBA players get 50% of the profit share, WNBA players want 50% as well. My last bit of research told me that the WNBA players receive 20% of the profit share, right? And it will allow Moxie to verify if that's true or not.
It is.
Yeah. You can speak to the particulars about that in the next couple of minutes, right? But this is my question to the folks under the sound of my voice, right? If the WNBA cannot turn a profit when their players receive 20%, how will they turn a profit if they get 50%? I put it to you that if the WNBA players get 50% of the profit share, the WNBA will cease to exist and cease to exist very quickly. right? The harsh reality, the very harsh reality. You get my song box here. The harsh reality is, folks, WNBA players, ladies and gents, I say this with no equivocation, are actually what? Overpaid. Matter of fact, give me that again.
Well, they heard you.
Let me get my mask done. Yeah, you're overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
If you're struggling to remain in the black and you're getting big money, you're overpaid. Anyhow, let me wrap this up, right? So we can get to the men. The reality is, it is incumbent upon women to put their money where their mouth is and support women's sports. Serena Williams does very well for herself, as have other women in tennis. Because guess what? Women like tennis and they're interested in that. Right? Women will need to go out and support the female athletes, not by lip service. Matter of fact, let me backtrack and redress that because it's got to deliver a message. Women and the surrogates, the white knights, the simps, and those who want to come and beat the chest and talk hard and talk dog about this same pay thing. Huh?
Call names, Derek. Call names. Come on.
If Another time.
Almost.
You almost had me. But don't beat your chest on Facebook, right? And talk about this equal pay thing. Go out and support those ladies. I don't want a lip service. We don't want a text service. Buy the tickets and support them. Put your paycheck towards supporting them.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are indeed watching the Senate Podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Just like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit notification bell on your way in so you don't miss anything once you've subscribed. And yeah, we can get to it. Now, before I give my 2 cents worth, I can get the journalist, the resident aficionado with numbers. He always gets on this Justin every Mondays at 8 p.m. and says he's a stocks guy. He's become a stocks guy, right? So, Justin, Derek asked us for clarification, for us to make heads and tails of it. Let us know your perspective of it, where you sit now, especially someone that watches all of these sports, particularly all these American sports, and you see like for women's soccer, for WNBA, etc. Shoot, you're a big tennis guy too. So just let us know what's your take on it. How do you see it?
All right, so I am trying to bring some balance and push back on Derek a bit, just a bit, right?
Right.
No,
are you in the Twilight Zone? Push back from Justin Marville.
We bring some balance.
Okay, go ahead.
So I love all basketball, as you all know, like all basketball, watch all basketball, and particularly love the WNBA because I think that these ladies are particularly skilled. I think they're very, very skilled. And I have no problem with somebody saying they play the same sport, even if you play 10 minutes less. You have a smaller ball, you don't do things like dunk. Your athleticism is not obviously equal on par. They're playing basketball and they are very highly skilled players at that age. And I've been one who has loved the league from since, we're old. So we could talk about Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, and Tina Thompson, the original big three in my estimation. Yeah. And then you move into the golden era of WNBA, Lauren Jackson, and why are names failing me right now? But I'm seeing her from the Sparks. And then you go into Lisa Leslie, there you go. I see that as the golden age of WNBA basketball. And then you fast forward a little bit to the Minnesota Lynx's dominance with Maya Moore, Lindsay Whalen. And then now to today's era with the Brittany Griners and, one of my personal favorites is Sabrina Ionescu. I really love to watch her. Really good. Really good. I have, in all honesty, I've not been able to watch the last season and this season, simply because, as a married man, I cannot justify TV to watch all sports content, and whatever not. So I've not watched last season or this season as much as I would love to. But Derek's initial point is correct. Like, take away, strip away the sport itself aside, what you do in terms of your quality of play, your athleticism or lack thereof. At the end of the day, we've always told this is a business. And so let's get to particular straight numbers. The NBA generates $8 billion in profits. $8 billion. It's not a million. It's not 800 million. It's $8 billion.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA has a $24 billion contract with ESPN/ABC and Turner Sports. $24 billion. The league can afford to pay LeBron James that $35 million or so a year because of the revenue that he generates. When then you juxtapose that to the WNBA, who makes $50 million, $60 million a year. 50 of that 60 comes in gate receipts. That's not what the NBA makes its money on, as we just said. It's TV money.
Right.
And even on top of that, now I think ESPN pays the league $24 million or $25 million a year to broadcast their games.
Right.
But as much as after all I've said, they make $60 million a year. It takes $70 million to run a league. So you're running in a deficit of $10 million every year. I do not know what business model can afford to be run for 25 going into this 26th year, losing $10 million every single year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which business would be seeing itself as profitable. That's not profitable. No, to Derek's middle point, where the women are indeed only making 20% of the revenue shares, 20 to obviously 80% to the owners. And they're crying for more. If you're making a $10 million loss every single year, how are you expecting to ask for more? When apparently 6 of the 12 teams are all operating at a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And these are not teams in small markets. These are teams in major markets that can afford, like New York, Atlanta. We can go on and on and on. I do not know, coach my language very carefully. I do not know if women are the problem where it comes to WNBA. I will say it is lazy and downright disrespectful and layered to point the finger at men to say that men are the problem. Because clearly they're not. And what I will say, I think the WNBA's biggest problem, for who we want, whichever sex we want to put it on, it is clear they have a problem with a target market. That is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Older women do not want to watch women's sports. Men don't want to watch women's sports. Teenage girls who they are clearly trying to target, they rather watch the CW. They are not watching women's sports. Young men do not want to watch women's sports. Boys don't want to watch women's sports, or at least that women's sport. They have a problem with a clear target market. The WNBA basically does not have one. And until they find target market that is going to support or, make them money, the WNBA will continue to make a loss. And it is weird because, again, I'll give a little pushback. Women's soccer, that is a money earner. Like when you look at it too, women and men's soccer in the national setup,
mm-hmm.
because of the eyes they generate, because of the tournaments that they win, they are the money earners, and hence why they were able to win their suit earlier this year.
Right.
Then you look at women's tennis, you look at women's track and field. I think women's track and field benefits because it is paired with men's track and field. So you don't have a situation where you have this women's event by itself. So you're not going to have a Prefontaine Classic just of women. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like you don't have these meets, like you don't have a Nike Classic with women. Women's tennis, I don't know what it is. Outlier. I don't get it. I don't know. And again, I love women's tennis. So I don't know why they have been able to be so successful, because obviously they have events on their own.
Sorry to cross you, Justin, but could it be that tennis focuses on individual stars and pushing individual stars all the way back to the 80s and the 90s, etc. When when those superstars
carry over.
No, because to be fair to the WNBA, right, they do try their best to market their stars. Like the Diana Taurasi's, Brittany Griner's, the Sabrina Ionescu. You even see Liz Cambage in more magazines posing naked. They try their best to promote their play. Maya Moore was known a household name at one point. Yeah. You could go on and on and on. This is a league that has tried to market their players. So I won't say it's a lack of marketing. The orange hoodie that we all know, that was one of the best-selling sports memorabilia in all of 2020. Forget women's, it is all. And part of that, obviously, is when Kobe Bryant was turning up to games in that orange hoodie. Mm-hmm. WNBA biggest selling piece. Mm-hmm. I don't think a lack of marketing their individual stars is the problem. It is target market. Now, to support Derek and Bill Burr, a number that neither man didn't bring up. I like to bring my numbers.
Bring the numbers.
The NFL has a fan base of reportedly 187 million plus people. Would you believe, guys, you're going to be shocked when I tell you, women make up 47% of that.
I am not surprised, because we do a sports show every Monday, and we've had this conversation before. So I am not surprised. But anyhow, go ahead.
I'm not surprised either. Women like to look at men, so I'm surprised.
47% of the 187 million fans in the NFL are women, which would calculate roughly, if I know, something over 90 million, correct?
Yeah.
If part of that 90 million were to be watching the WNBA, we won't be having this conversation.
Right.
We won't have this conversation. And for those in chat, I'm not watching it right now, who think that may be a made-up figure, Neil and Derek can both tell you I frequent NFL games. For the last over 4 or 5 years, I have been to at least one NFL game.
That's where he met his wife.
Yeah. For a fact. It feels like a 50-50 split when you go, like, there are just as many women in Lambeau Field as there are men. Why that does not translate to the WNBA, I do not know. But what I do know, if that holds true, it is unfair, unjust, and not correct to say that the fate of the WNBA lies solely at the feet of men. You can go on, O'Neill.
All right. So let me start with the bottom come forward. No, you know what I like about this? This is, again, there's a twilight zone, because Justin Marville was impartial and even give pushback. That was a first for me. But what I will say is, guys, I know exactly why the WNBA does not get the numbers. And this is going to be controversial, so buckle up, clip me, get ready.
It's probably going to be very accurate, because I'm itching to say something as well. Go ahead.
Right. The simple fact is that,
let me get the air horn.
Because Justin would have mentioned that the reason why women go to NFL games, and the reason why they go to NFL games and not to WNBA games is because as men playing, men hitting men, yeah. Right? WNBA, that is women
hitting women.
Not women hitting women, but it comes over as masculine, right? It comes over as very masculine. It doesn't seem, it seems out of place. Now, I know before people start to say, "Oh, you say that, what about women's football? You trying to say that women, The point is, right? Is numbers don't lie. The point is that nobody going to watch the WNBA games, particularly their target demographic, which is women, right? They don't go. Right? Simply because women are not interested in sports like that. And if they are interested in sports like that, they're interested in men playing against men, right? Football, I think football is a very unique example. Excuse me, because that's men hitting men. That's a very violent sport. That is very primal in a sport. Basketball graceful. Basketball is more athletic. Basketball is more, there's a bit of intelligence there and a bit of athleticism necessary in basketball that you won't find necessarily in football. Football is, I see you, I hit you, that's my job to get the ball out of your hand by any means necessary, right? Within the confines of the rules. Basketball, you can't get tackle nobody for the ball, right? And when you see women that are not graceful, not elegant, because look at tennis. Tennis is a very fluid and graceful sport. It's a non-contact sport, right? So when you see the women hitting the ball and run up and down next to, I don't get into the uniforms. I get into the play of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at basketball, it looks and mirrors like men playing the basketball game, right? And there's so much things I want to say here because one, if you have two sports lined up next to one another, not two sports. You got perfect example, sneakers. Everybody into sneakers. You got a pair of Jordans and you got a pair of Flames, right? The Flames copy the Jordans, but it's not the Jordans. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You remember back in the day, fellas, when you used to want a pair of Jordans or a hottest pair of Nike, your mother buy a pair of knockoff Flames or a pair of Jordache or something like that, right? I did it myself.
You're bringing theoretical.
Triggering it, man.
I'm gonna tell you of a scenario, a real life scenario.
Oh Lord.
1993-94.
Cheeks on break.
When he was really making his big push. And that was when we would have been in junior school at Queen's College. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was now getting the first Air Max and, flights. Getting Jordan because, Jordan had just retired.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget. I had come off again a pair of LA gears, so I thought my next move.
Gears, man.
La gears.
So, getting a pair of flights, no. Never forget. My father brought home a pair of tracks. They weren't.
Don't tell me tracks with X's.
With X's, Neil. X's. Tracks. TRA.
Triple X.
And what made it worse about these tracks was that there were Velcro straps on the top.
God damn.
And everyone is rocking, the painted leather Jordans, and I had to bring out these tracks. The first day I brought them out of my gym bag, I cried. I skipped PE. I found an excuse to skip PE for 2 weeks. Because I did not want anybody to see in these tracks. So I thought I didn't want you to talk about things that were made up. I tell you a real life scenario. I had to wear tracks for my entire year. I want to say it in second form.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there you go. So the NBA is Jordans and the WNBA is tracks. No, I am not
beating them.
No, let me be clear. Let me be clear when I say this. Justin said very eloquently, these women are skilled. They are professional players. These women can be any of us men sitting out here watching this. Some of we play in the league here in Barbados and all sorts of things, right? These women are really, really, really good. The problem here is that the men bring a superior product in terms of the up and down, the activities. If you look at points scored in a game, if you look at possessions per 48, if you look at the statistics, and this is not esports, so there's not this just in, but if you were to get into the numbers, the NBA is just as a matter of fact, right? We as NBA purists, we had a problem when certain rules were brought in to make the game quicker. Why? Because we come up in the 90s, the three of us came up in the 90s, and what we used to see games done at 87 to 79, and that was a great game. Down and dirty, grit and grind, pelts and licks in some people. But as the years went on, they put in rules to implement certain things so that men can score the ball quicker. No, the average scoring is 110, 109 or something like that. Somewhere around there, right? That's
Can't beat the boy with 99.
exactly. So now they tell you they got some teams in the NBA that play no defense, but win the majority of their games or better than half of their games simply because they just get up and down the court. Justin's Phoenix Suns back in the early 2000s, 7 seconds or less, that offense. Them men could not defend. They could not defend a garbage.
Even bothers to try.
They could not. They could not defend a garbage can. Say again, Justin.
Can't defend any of the three of us here. Definitely not Steve Nash.
Could not defend nothing. But they won a lot of games and got great success simply because they got up and down the floor. So on paper already, the product is going to be lacking in terms of the experience.
I like to, because you know on our show, we don't get a chance to address people in the chat. So you have people from off the chat. There's one comment you want to quickly address because, and this is not to attack anybody or get personal, but there is this myth that women watch sports, or at least in American sports or American culture, that women watch sports because of their partners. And so Carrie-Anne wants to say that is not true, especially as it pertains to American culture.
Yeah, but here it definitely applies.
It applies in Barbados, but not in American culture. And I say that, I can tell you, the last playoff game I went to, I have seen groups of women say no alone. No partners, no boyfriends, no husbands, no siblings. Women go to games to watch games. You'll find a situation where women are more knowledgeable as fans than men. Neil and I have a co-host, Marsha Boyce, who is on route from Oregon because she is the biggest track and field fan I know.
Well, you know too, fast.
Right? She went with another female friend because she's a big track and field fan. So I won't push back against this belief that women watch male sports because of partners. That's not so in American, especially American society. When you see their entire society is based on sports. And they said, I'll give you examples. Look at their major holidays. Christmas. What is Christmas?
NBA.
Thanksgiving.
Football.
President's Day. Baseball. Martin Luther King. Basketball. NBA, sorry. All of their major holidays are based on sports. You look at their license plates. Their license plates are sporting license plates. Their talk shows, sporting talk shows. You go into any American medical facility right now or any American restaurant, you're not going to see CNN on, you're going to see ESPN. Women here in the States, like it may not be so in the Caribbean, but American women are just as big as sports fans are men. And I kid you not. Like, so again, Carrie, I push back on saying that because it belittles women fans in my estimation to say women are only watching male sports because of their partners. That's not so. I met my wife because my wife is almost a bigger Packers fan as I am.
Yep. I am glad you bring that up, Justin, because that brings me to my next point, which is, well, if American women are such big fans, why are they not watching the WNBA en masse? And the simple fact is, there is a better product. And before everybody attack me and say, whoa, there's a better product, please take into consideration those that want to come for me and those that want to push this narrative that women should be paid as equal as men when it comes to WNBA and NBA. Because this is where this started. Brittany Griner was in Russia. She got hold of the immigration in Russia because she was going to play out of season out of the WNBA thing.
You mean, it's because, let's be honest, Neil, that European season is their season for them. Like,
exactly.
WNBA.
Exactly. People were saying, oh, if she was getting paid just like the man, she won't go to Russia and put herself in these sort of situations, whatever. That's poppycock, but for many other reasons. But the reason why I say that this is fascinating to me is because at the end of the day, the NBA celebrated this year its 75th year. 75th year. The WNBA just celebrated its 25th. Do you? Nobody don't see. Only people that watch sports will know this. Only people that follow the NBA will know this. You remember in the 70s, in the early 80s, when the NBA was not even the 80s, but they were struggling in the 70s. Why? Because men was doing drugs, men was drinking, nobody didn't check it. Baseball was a better league, but football was a better league. NBA was seen as degenerates, men dealing in drugs, men dealing in all sorts of different things, men struggled. Men. When you watch documentaries on that time, 25 years as it would happen around, not 25, that was about what? That was 50 years ago. Yeah, about 20. Yeah, about 25 years, right? Yeah, I know that. I know. That was
50 years ago.
right. That was 25 years into their season. And then man was close to shutting down. But along came Magic Johnson, along came Larry Bird, along came
Wait, hold on, Derek. Your name's a call. Right. All right. Go ahead, Neil.
Why do?
No, a certain man who named this does not want to give the gravitas.
Yeah. Anyhow, the point remains, there was a chain of events that happened that made the NBA not only come back into the regional sphere of the United States, but also went globally, right? The WNBA, compared to the NBA, is in its infancy. There are stories.
Let me just interject quick, Neil. Also consider that at that point the NBA audiences were still trending up. Yeah, their viewership was trending up. The WNBA not so much.
Right.
And also let me say that the Magic Johnson is the hardest porn name ever in life.
Yeah, Magic Johnson is hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. Magic Johnson is very hard.
Let me just be honest. There are two events that really push the NBA to where they are right now. The rise of both Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in the 80s, and most importantly of all,
Michael.
The inclusion of, and not just Michael, but yeah, Michael, and I don't want to overshadow Michael, but the inclusion of pros into the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, which led to the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Right. So I want people, before you all come and say, oh, you see this graphic with Sue Bird, who is considered one of the greats, probably on many's Mount Rushmore of WNBA players, making peanuts compared to LeBron James, right? I want you all to, before you all open your mouth and say equal pay in WNBA, this and that and next, I want you all to consider that, one, the WNBA is 25 years. The NBA is 75 years, meaning that our parents' generation and our parents' generation was watching basketball, meaning that is something generationally passed down from generation to generation. Nobody don't talk about that. The second thing you have to look at is you have to look at the struggles the NBA had when they were hitting certain milestones and certain things that happened. I actually think, I ain't gonna lie to you all, I actually think that players like Sabrina Ionescu, she and other players like her actually can help turn around the WNBA, in that she is a disciple from Kobe Bryant, she's a very good player, etc., right? But when you look at, people look at the $30 million, $33 million that LeBron James made in 2020 versus Sue Bird's hundreds of thousands, right? The difference is that the Lakers, the team that he was playing for and still plays for back in 2020, that team was worth $5.5 billion. LeBron James for that season made $33 million. That is less than 1/100%. 1% divide that by 100, you got 0. Actually, the numbers while Justin was talking, is 0.006% of the worth of the Lakers, and that is the best player. No,
Derek, I hear this. So if Derek feels that the WNBA players are overrated or overpaid, you do not want to hear this. You do know that majority of NBA stars, Derek, are underpaid.
Yeah, they ain't want to hear that. They ain't want to hear that. But I agree.
You know how I feel when
I know you feel.
Right? I would say that, but if you can say A, you're going to say
B. Right.
Yeah,
but
I'll take that.
But the point remains, right? Before we just run and put up graphics like this Sue Bird and thing and use it as an argument to say women should be paid as commensurate to men, you have to look at varying factors. Do not look at football, because football is a different animal to basketball. Arguments can be made for the women, arguments can be made for against the women, but the point remains, you cannot argue tennis, you cannot argue any other sport when it comes to WNBA for pay gap. Actually, you have to treat every situation in a vacuum. You cannot treat all of it as, oh, she plays sports and these play sports and she did. You can't do that, because at the end of the day, it is deeper than, oh, pay the women more. Yes, you may know of there's a WNBA player named Sue Bird. Yes, you may know she's a champion or she's one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. You may know a lot about Sue Bird and you may know a lot about the WNBA, but you cannot sit there and say that Sue Bird should get LeBron money. Because if Sue Bird and players like Sue Bird really get LeBron money, and the league, do you know how much the league is bringing in? I checked the numbers the other day. Y'all can fact check me, but like 27 million.
Yeah.
He makes 60 million.
60 million, right.
So, that's an improvement. Got here 27 million.
Right. So you're trying
million, and it takes 70 million to run.
Okay, good. So your league is making $60 million when the season comes. The Lakers were $5.5 billion a year. It is not the same. It cannot be the same. So to open your mouth and say that LeBron should be making Sue Bird money or Sue Bird should be making LeBron James money, it don't work. So when you look at the collective, because some of y'all has argued about this pay thing and bringing the WNBA and all this, there's a collective bargaining agreement. There are TV rights. When they're,
I think this podcast going on too long. This is one simple point.
But go ahead.
You are paid how much by how much you generate. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. That's basic economics.
You don't have to go any further than that. One league operates at a $10 million loss. One league, even if you forget the loss that the league operates at, one league brings in $60 million and operates at a $10 million loss. The other league yearly generates $8 billion in revenue. This is simple economics. One league can afford to pay the players $30 to $40 to $50 million a year in certain cases.
$60 million. Shout out Damian Lillard.
Because these players generate that revenue, there is, as I said, a $24 billion TV deal in place with ESPN and ABC and Turner Sports. And the other league has a $24 million league, deal with ESPN.
It's simple economics. It's simple economics.
Simple economics. And
but the reality is, it ain't that simple, guys. Because we still got people that beat in the chest.
No. It is simple there. It is simple. It is simple. If you know, because what? We know the numbers because we are NBA fans and we speak at the WNBA as much. Let's be honest with ourselves here, fellas. As much as we don't watch a season of the WNBA, we know more than the people that's be arguing for the women in the WNBA. That's be arguing, oh, they should be getting paid this and that next. Oh, should give the women a try this and that next. We know about Sue Bird. I know about Tina Thompson. We don't know about Tina Thompson. We know about Tina Thompson. We know about Cheryl Swoops. We know, right? We know Cynthia Cooper. We know about these players, right? Y'all don't. So the point I'm trying to make here is that before you open your mouth and see something like Brittany Griner has been locked up in Russia. She was going overseas to play basketball, and you listen to the narratives you see on Facebook. You say, oh, she's made X amount of money at the WNBA versus how much she's making in Russia. If she didn't have to go to Russia to chase that bag, she wouldn't be struggling to make, which is amazing to me. She's struggling to make $290 million a year to play basketball, right?
If you can't make that money work,
right?
I brought up, right? Because I want to deal with the Brittany Griner topic now because I know we get there, but
go ahead. No problem.
No, two things, right? Brittany Griner makes, I think, $221,000 a year. That is more than any current G League player. So I want people to understand. There's no.
Hold on, but also just saying, because some of our audience don't know, the G League is kind of like
it's a feeder system.
Is a feeder system. Is like, call it second division to Premier League.
A developmental league.
A developmental league for
and an additional path for other players or players to get in either prior to college or you didn't get drafted or go ahead.
I also consider that G League teams will be beating some of these WNBA teams. I just say.
Well, hold on, Neil. So again, all right. So you're forcing me to talk some things I may not want to say. Like not some. There's no.
I'm saying you got me here, beat man.
I'm just saying, guys.
There's like, and because the reality is the physicality of the sport, it is what it is. Men are bigger, faster, stronger. This is not to say, that one sex is better than
dead.
Right, but men are bigger, faster, stronger, and the physicality of sport alone means that the WNBA players are not better than any G League player, nor any professional player. Far be it, and this is going to sound like blasphemy, but it is really not. Because of the physicality, the pace of men in sports, they don't think there's a WNBA team that will be able to beat the men's national team. And that's, by any means, Barbados' men's national.
Okay.
Right? And they don't say that being sarcastic. They don't say that with,
being facetious.
the joke. Not trying,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Like, to this point, right, I'm really strained by it. But to show you the differences in terms of men's physicality and women's physicality. When a lot of people might not know this name, Sloane Stephens, a Black American tennis player, when she was on the come up, she had beaten, I want to say, Serena in a Grand Slam quarterfinal on either the US Open or the Australian Open, one or two. I tell this story all the time, so these two know what I'm about to say. And she was coached by a Bahamian guy, Roger Smith. She got the semis, I think, and got beaten there. So at that time, Roger Smith could not get through to her because she felt like, I've made it now.
Yeah.
I don't need you. I just beat Serena, the best in the world, arguably the greatest of all time. Going on and on and on. What people don't know is that at that time, Roger Smith also coached our best tennis player, male, Darian King. So he looks at Darian and says, look, I can't get through this woman. I need you to take her down a peg. Gentlemen, would you know in their practice match the very next day, Darian King went on to beat her 6-love, 6-love. 6-love, 6-love. And this is a woman who just came from beating Serena Williams. I say that to say men's sports and women's sports, because of the size, speed, the physicality, there's no comparison there. I am not telling you that Serena Williams is not an extremely talented player, but Serena Williams cannot play with men. So Serena Williams cannot play with men tennis players. Similarly, the WNBA players will not be able to compete against a men's national team. And I see that with fear, without question.
But hold on, I just want to be clear when I say this, right? Because at the end of the day, I am not saying that the WNBA is not worthy of financial support in terms of people going to watch it. Go and watch it. My thing is,
right.
The point is, to me, there is value in the WNBA. There's value in watching the women play. I can actually see some of the storylines, especially coming into, what was the woman there? It was Sue Bird and, oh my goodness, who's the girl from Phoenix? What's her name?
Taurasi,
right. Taurasi, right? The leading scorer all time in the WNBA, by the way.
Murder.
Right? So much murder. And assists.
To put this into further context, Neil, because somebody said the U.S. women's national team got beaten by the under-15 team and laughed, but that's nothing to doubt. To bring it even further, tennis, I think it was Sharapova, had played an exhibition match against, at that time, this is about almost 10 years, 10 years ago, a junior had beaten, and he was like probably 16, 17 at the time, and she had beaten a junior. They refused to release the name of the junior because it was shameful. Because you do not, as much as Sharapova at that time is a multi-Grand Slam champion, you would not expect Sharapova to beat a 16-year-old, 17-year-old turning pro. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So I want to get to the Brittany Griner situation because this is very peculiar for me, right? In two aspects. Now, I've heard the train of thought that people need to do more where Brittany Griner is concerned, because if it were LeBron James, the U.S. would have done everything to get LeBron James out of Russia. And say that is not so, or that is a fallacy. And here is why. What people seem to forget at the start of this Brittany Griner saga, right, is that the U.S. government went out and particularly begged people not to make this a public issue, not to start up and drum up support. And there was a reason why. They asked that because they knew if that became a national sentiment, a growing social media trend, Russia will have more leverage in terms of keeping Brittany Griner.
Yep.
As they know the importance and the pressure and the strain that the U.S. government is going to be put under. So they particularly beg people, do not make issue a political issue. Please keep this down, because that is only going to drive up Russia's leverage more. I say that to say, were it LeBron James, you best believe he's not getting out of Russia, because Putin will know the leverage he has.
Yep.
And
Putin would say, look, you want about LeBron? Give me Florida. Florida, we call it Georgia. Right? Just give me Florida.
But let's not act like we're stupid. There's a war going on in Ukraine.
Yep.
Part of which is the responsibility of US and NATO, but that's another conversation.
That's another conversation for another podcast and another time.
But we pretend like we don't know US and NATO's hand in what's going on in there. But anyhow, all of the sanctions that the US and the Western world have put on Russia means that anybody of importance gives Russia all the more leverage in this situation.
Yep.
And you do not want a scenario where, all this social media support or whatever not, because it's going to make it that much harder.
Mm-hmm.
So now that the support has drama, and this is not me saying that Brittany Griner does not deserve to be home.
Yeah, I mean, she's a pawn. Unfortunately, she get caught up.
I know where Derek is going to get to that. Like, you really are going into foreign territory. You really know, you need to know people's laws and not break.
No. Again, fellas, I'm not saying that, if you break people's laws, you break people's laws. But let's be honest, Russia, Russia playing it. Oh, Russia gonna ring this like 10 years for the oils or whatever.
All because of political sanctions.
Exactly. So for me, what I'm saying is that I am sorry that she is caught up in this whole geopolitical thing, right? Not that she do something wrong, you do the crime, you do the time, right? But like some of these things that we hear about
if this was 2 years ago, she'd probably be home.
Exactly.
So I hear the rhetoric from whoever, whatever, whether it be white knights, whether people for the cause saying, if it were LeBron James, US have gotten LeBron home by now. And that is not so. It would be even harder.
It'd be worse. It'd be worser still, boy.
Like, because you would know the importance. So, like, I want to push back on that. And then to absolve Brittany of all guilt in this situation, that's irresponsible.
Well, the woman did plead guilty, so.
And again, I'm not saying her crime deserves the 10 years that she could possibly face.
Agreed.
I'm not here to tell you that. I am here to tell you, Justin Marville, I'm not going in Russia trying to smuggle in hashish oil. I'm not doing that.
No, not me.
I'm not doing that.
Not me.
Not me.
And then turning around and saying the US government needs to get me out. No, you need not to break the people's laws. That's what you need.
There you go.
How about that? So basically, let me bring it back home now, because looking at the time and everything like that. Because we want to get into the comments and create a discussion, but bringing it back home to the pay gap in sports. I want people to understand, right? This has quite literally nothing to do with men being stronger, faster, whatever. Because the women, and there's another thing too, you hear these arguments, if men bigger, faster, stronger, well, you don't go and play that. I am not a professional athlete. So me going to play Brittany Griner would be the same as me going to play LeBron James. All his licks. Because they are professional athletes and I am not. I have not trained my entire life to play a sport. You understand? Most I used to mess around on a couple days a week. I was tall, so I get on a couple teams in the league and that's it. But my name's in the annals of Barbados basketball. So don't let me make it seem like me and Brittany Griner neck and neck. Yeah, she is a professional athlete and I am not. So, away from the argument of bigger, faster, stronger, whatever, it is as simple as it's basic economics. Your product is just not in demand. Furthermore, the target audience for your product is you. Women are the target market.
But are they? I don't even know.
They're not. They're not.
But hold on.
Adam Silver is making the point that the target market for the WNBA tends to be older men who like to see fundamental basketball. The reality is, and y'all kind of touched on it, but didn't really get into it. You talk about the brute physical strength and exertion in football. You talk about the athleticism in basketball and stuff like that. That is the stuff that appeals to women from men. They don't want to see women doing them things. Women, they come in to look at women, you know. They just ain't doing it.
Women hold on. Women are not coming to look at women being men or
Exactly.
masculine.
Exactly. And they just don't want to see it. But that's another topic that I got for another time. But like we can delve into that. But go ahead, Justin.
That's a real problem here. The WNBA lacks a target demographic. That like we can talk all around the situation all we want. It is clear that they suffer from not having a true target audience. Who is it? It's not girls, because the young girls, Neil laughed at it earlier. Young girls want to watch the CW. Young girls do not want to watch basketball. They want to watch the CW. They want to watch what was that Archie series called Riverdale. They want to watch the Flash. They want to watch these things. They want to watch Pretty Little Liars. They know that a bit 10 years behind, but whatever. Like,
they want to watch Gilmore Girls. Talking, you might know.
They want to watch Gilmore Girls.
Hold on. Just like.
All right, but we ain't good.
Oh.
What was the series that the girls that did come from? She was on a series. What was the name?
Euphoria.
Euphoria. They want to watch those things. Young men, let me talk. Teenage boys want to watch it worse because they're trying to emulate that. They're not trying to.
But not only that.
And that's a critical point too, Justin. The boy is trying to emulate that. The average teenage girl is not trying to be Brittany Griner or Diana Taurasi. They're not.
They're not trying. But also consider there's a bit of escapism when it comes to these things. Men, as you just rightly said, you Justin know it. Derek knows it. I know it. Men or people in the United States are fanatic about their sports. It is escapism for them. You know what I mean? Men will more attend games for certain sports simply because they want escapism. Whatever sport it is, you want escapism for your 9 to 5. You just want something to just take your mind for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever, off of your problems, your issues, your family, whatever. Women, as Bill Burr said, again, I watch the Kardashians. Again, I watch Real Housewives of Hip Hop, whatever, basketball ways, whatever. They're going to watch How to Get Away with Scandal and Murder or whatever. They're going to watch all of these different shows because that is their escapism. I am not here to tell anybody what their escapism should be. That is not the point. If you want to watch Scandal, that is fine. If you want to watch Pretty Little Liars, that is fine. If you want to watch basketball, that is fine. Whatever you do in your downtime to center you and to calm you and to make you stay on the rails, do you. But don't come and blame me for not picking up and watching and supporting your sport or making it seem like the overlords in the NBA saying we can kick these women down, ha ha he he, because we want to give the money to men and women can't get this money.
You know what that's like, Neil? That's like a company creating rompers and then blaming men for not buying them.
Yep.
Exactly that. And again,
we didn't want this.
And also too, right? Like again,
not for me.
And for this is the last point, I swear. This is I'm gonna speak very, very briefly on the pay gap situation overall. I'm simply going to ask the people out there that believe there's such a big disparity between men and women in pay gap, regardless of sport, regardless of industry or whatever, right? All I'm going to simply ask is if women labor in blue-collar jobs, CEOs or whatever, if that labor was so cheap or such cheaper than men, wouldn't it be incumbent on the people that run these companies to hire exclusively women? If it is such that I just met 1.5 times more than Suan, right? I made 1.5 times 70.75 more than Suan or whatever, right? Wouldn't it save the company's bottom line for them to hire more women because women and men can do the same jobs?
Mm-hmm.
We are not disputing that. Hold on in these situations. Men,
tell you no.
men and women can do the same job. Men and women, IQ, everything, women could go and get the learning, whatever. By and large, looking on pen and paper, to most people, women and men are the same. But women getting screwed and getting paid less. If that is the case, then I'm a CEO. We are on a board. I'm looking at my bottom line and saying, cheese on bread, boy. We can't cut a couple of 100 million here. Mala, I seeing the monthly wages here, so the yearly wages for these men. These 80% men. And we gotta pay how much million? Nah, brother. Do the math. Quick maths. So please.
Not soft, not.
So answer me. In a society that incentivizes the hiring of minorities and women, incentivizes these things.
Affirmative action.
Tell me, how is there such a huge pay gap to the point where women are being oppressed and segregation and all of this thing? That's all I ask. Why Jeff Bezos ain't got $2 billion yachts instead of one? Why he ain't worth $500 billion by now?
Is it?
Well, it's just $250 billion, but yeah, the point is please, before y'all people get and come for men and get and come for these leagues and get and come for these certain situations, before you come and say, oh, there's a pay gap, men ain't a good, women this, and we trying to hold on the women, please do your due diligence and look at the back story to these things. In sports, it is not apples to apples. It is not, because there are TV rights, there's the bottom line of different leagues, there are so many different factors that go into LeBron James making $33 million a season versus Burr making 200 somebody thousand. And that is 75 years of watching players like Charles Barkley. I hear Charles Barkley every season complain like, cheese on bread, boy. Back in my time, I wish I had the internet now. Well, I began a $60 million pay cut too. Because those men for their careers made tens of millions of dollars, you know. Tens of millions. LeBron James is a billionaire off of basketball, you know. So please understand.
Businessman.
Do not look at LeBron James.
My guy LeBron.
Do not. I'm glad I got it. Do not look at Sue Bird and LeBron James and blow your top and all of a sudden start to think, oh, men keep it down, women and this and that next. Story. Context.
On Facebook that led you to this, and it was shameful that these people call themselves intelligent. And I'm not here to tell you that, you know, I'm not here to attack people, but it is shameful when you can look and just make a straight comparison that LeBron James, Sue Bird have played the same amount of years, won the same amount of titles, and you think they should be paid nearly more the same. Like, the argument is simple. One league generates X amount of dollars, the other league does not.
You could do it. Sorry, Justin, but you could do a simple Google search, right? You know what they put in there? LeBron James played 17 years, right? How many points he got in that 70 years? How many assists, rebounds, minutes, fouls, whatever, compared to Sue Bird?
Turnovers.
Even if, let's for argument's sake, see that the WNBA, as in terms of ability, is a better product than the NBA. Let's just for argument's sake that, right? That the product is actually better. It doesn't matter.
It really does not. It does not.
And am I here saying that I don't want to see the WNBA get to that situation? Of course not. Like, I've grown up watching the WNBA from, you know, being a young adult to here. Of course, I would love to see a situation where Brittany Griner doesn't have to go to Russia. I would love to see a situation where my favorite player of all time, Diana Taurasi, is a multi-millionaire times over because of
basketball,
and not having to play in Europe. I'd love that. But the reality is the WNBA does not have a target demographic that allows for such. Yeah. And so to say it is unfair that the men get paid this and women get paid that is hogwash.
Yeah, it's hogwash. It is from a space of hogwash
because the men are paid what they're bringing. Whether, and I know there are others, namely Derek, that feel that the men are overpaid. But I will tell you that's because you are paid for what.
Ben Simmons.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Well, I can't
argue that. Kyrie Irving.
God damn it.
I will say, right? even people who are on rookie scale contracts. I'll give you an example. When was it? Help me, gentlemen. Was it 2014, 2015 that Andrew Wiggins became the overall number 1 pick?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, mid 2010s. The moment that it was found out that Minnesota was trading for that number 1 overall pick and would have gotten Andrew Wiggins as part of that Kevin Love deal, would you know that their season tickets were all sold out? By that moment, within days or weeks, they sold out all their season tickets. Andrew Wiggins, because of the rookie scale contract, would have already made like what, $5 million in our first year.
Yeah. But season tickets gone.
Gone.
Now money done
So
met.
Matt Bot. Yep. Only simple announcement.
It's easy to say it in his rookie year without bouncing a single basketball, scoring a single basket, without pulling out a single rebound. Andrew Wiggins was already underpaid.
Yeah.
He was already underpaid simply because of the money that the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to generate on the fact of his announcement going to the team.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are indeed watching the Senate podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know what y'all think. I know some people going off into the comment section, so there you will go down in there and you will see. I seeing some things that are it's interesting because things are spinning off that we obviously can go and talk about pay gap again between men and women. So, yeah.
Yeah. So let me just backtrack into the chat a little bit. See my girl Carrie on. Come on, let me go a little further back. Because my guy Tango Fox said even during COVID-19, their audience ticket sales remain unchanged.
Bad mind.
That's my boy.
Bad mind.
As Bill Burr said, when they catch COVID, watching them 300-400 people, you know what I mean?
That ain't right. You know that ain't right.
Yeah. Carrie Ann says it. What are you doing watching women sweat on the basketball court? Not interested. And that's pretty much the biggest challenge that they have, right?
I want to talk about Carrie Ann business, but I know what she's watched versus the WNBA. And trust me when I believe that is lending into our argument.
No. Talk things.
I mean, I'm just saying some people like to watch 90 Day Fiancé more so than tune into WNBA.
Same thing that
so just saying I won't put a body on Front Street. I'm just saying 90 Day Fiancé and Married at First Sight are bangers on TLC more so than the WNBA.
Yeah. Ask women why they don't come. It says Gooner. Not sure who Gooner is, but welcome. Ask women why they don't complain about them making more money in the fashion industry than men. I saw Rafael Nadal had a response, something like that, when it came up about the poor pay gap thing. That was his response.
Wait, hold on there. I see Justin, you gonna make a move?
I have to make a move. Indeed, it's my co-worker's birthday tomorrow. In Milwaukee, so we gotta go and live it up, gentlemen. So sorry, got cut a move.
No problem.
I was gonna make a joke, but you are a married man, so I was gonna say "City boys up."
Nah,
but no.
Yeah.
Grand like that. Anyhow, Justin, thank you so very much for joining our show. We definitely will have you back on because I feel as though we will be talking about women in sports again. And not only that too, but you're a married man. We always like to encourage married men to come in here. Pardon me?
Say it, huh?
You trying to get me canceled?
No. But if we ain't canceled yet, I tell you, we got sure for a way to get canceled. But this ain't gonna be it. But anyhow, thank you very much, Justin. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks for coming, brother. I just want to tell you before you go.
Man, go on, man, Derek, man. Let him go. Justin, thank you so very much. And we will chat you.
Cheers,
later,
bro.
Yeah, man, later.
Yeah.
Right, so as Justin exits. Right, so anyhow, continue, my brother.
Yeah, man. Gunnar says even the Beijing ones, big boss about the PM, deputy PM, and president being all women, not a peep about a man who should be there also. Yeah, we ain't coming, so don't worry about that. Tango Fox asks why they don't lower the rim to make the game exciting. They don't want that. T-Mac offered that as a suggestion, and Brianna Stewart was highly offended by that suggestion. So That is not a thing.
I actually don't think they should lower the ring. I actually think they should keep it at 10 feet because I can understand because anytime when you look at like slam ball, when you look at the big three, when you look at other leagues that would have the 3-on-3 leagues and stuff like that, is always a variation of the standard, and they're always received as like gimmicky. You understand what I mean? And
Right.
I think that would be an insult to the WNBA players to lower the ring, get more dunks,
And that's how they see it. That's how they view it. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I can't be vexed with that because I don't think that's like if we were playing, we play in the league here in Barbados, and people saying yeah we need to get the numbers that let me lower the ring to 9 feet or whatever. I can be like or make the 3-point line a little closer or whatever. I'd be like
You kind of get the immediate impression that you really ain't good enough for the real standard. So have a length.
yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we touched on that already. See, we got Ramel Hall in the host storylines. Also drive the NBA. It is a star-focused league. Hardly anyone can name the current top 10 NBA players, WNBA players. Sorry, I listen to sports podcasts all the time. Nobody talks about the WNBA.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Thank you, Justin. That is the bottom line in this discussion. WNBA not generating what it needs to afford $1 million salaries for their players. Long and short. Neil, in the American context, there's a lot more involved in the gender and race pay inequity. It is a conversation being had for a long time, and there are several components involved, and you can for sure have a whole Senate session on it.
Right. So
yes, I watch Mindless TV.
Yeah. So sorry about that, Carrie. I'm about putting on Front Street, but to your point about the nuances of pay gap in the United States versus men and women, I understand that. Again, I'm speaking as a man for the Caribbean, third world country. I don't know the nuances as someone like yourself knows. And yes, of course, we will have a conversation on this another time. And the invitation is open to you to join that session so that we can have that conversation as a woman of color operating in that space and dealing with those sorts of things. But the point I was trying to make when I said what I said about the pay gap overall is that some people would have you believe that women are being paid pennies on the dollar while men are being paid, $2 and $3. You understand me? We getting $2 and $3 and women getting like fractions of a penny on the dollar, which that is generally not the case, right? It's not, again, with any other argument when it comes to certain things with pay gap, it is not just apples to apples. It is not just, women not getting paid as much as men. Like, of course, if you take all of the various jobs that men do versus women do, and all of the hours that they work, and take out all of the factors, you just take a man and a woman and say a woman is being paid X and a man is paying Y. There are certain factors that go into it. I'm not talking necessarily about blue collar jobs. I'm talking about jobs overall. So like women ain't getting out there any mines compared to men. Women ain't going out there as construction workers as it comes to men. Women are not going out there to work on dams and stuff like that, like men going and work on those things. So all of those things factor in. You understand what I mean? Likewise, men are not going into beautician or going into certain fields of hospitality or anything like that versus women simply because people just gravitate to what they want to gravitate toward. The point is that if you take a man and a woman and say, she getting paid 5 cents and a man getting paid $2, this is bare junk. We need to equal the playing field. It is not. It ain't easy like that.
Yeah, man, that's where we are.
No, hold on. Well, I see you here, Carry on. Well, for every $1 a white American man makes, a black woman in America gets 62% for jobs overall. But this is not a black versus white thing. This is not black women versus white men. This is men versus women. When you see the arguments that people make, a lot of people go, I hear people talk about women not being paid commensurate to men. I just saying there is a different conversation of a black woman being paid commensurate to a white man. That's a different conversation. But even the conversation of how much a man makes versus a woman, I would be interested to see those numbers. So again, we can have that conversation. It's a conversation that I think your stance and our stance is not as far apart as one may believe, simply because I am basing my opinion based on some people that behave as though there is such a gulf between men and women in pay that it is patriarchy, it is oppression, and that sort of thing. When there are a lot of factors that go into these things. Anyhow.
Yeah, man. Well, folks, it is 20 minutes to you of 10 in Barbados and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. You have been indeed watching the Senate podcast. I know that this is a little, kind of sort of a little off the topic between men and women these days, but I felt it was important that we have a look at this because it's one of them topics that tends to come up from time to time. So I thought it would be an interesting discussion. So, folks, we don't make it the rules. We just make sure you know what they are. You can ignore reality all you want. You cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Be the best version of you for you. We can see you all again soon. You see the numbers back up in the year for the whole COVID thing, and could do what we can approach it. So yeah, go out there and you can't tell them not to walk up and enjoy themselves. It's pointless and a moot point. So they can go and enjoy yourself, but please do so safely and responsibly. Take all the precautions you can. Wear a mask and all that. Remember. So be safe out there. We are going to see you guys again soon. We're going to record some shorts here. And then we can see you all Thursday for another very interesting, probably controversial live stream. Peace.